What's good, everybody? It
What?
is another week. We are closer to Friday.
Ooh, hump
Super excited.
day.
It has been a very long week.
Indeed.
Because tonight, uh, I have a little blue lagoon, kinda. Like it.
Huh? I mean, I had to have something for the show. Somebody's gonna say that's a man with a fruity drink, but you know what? It's Espolon tequila mixed with a
Okay.
little peach Bellini and a ski taste of grenadine.
Not a ski taste. For those of y'all who are not from the Houston area, that is like a Houston word, ski.
Just a little bit.
A ski taste. And see, it's funny because in my hometown in Indiana, shout out Eville, uh, we have a drink, a pop. I know people gonna get on me for saying pop, but we have a pop that is locally made called ski. So every time I hear people say a ski taste, it just reminds me of my hometown.
Well, you gotta sexy red gotta remind you of it all the time because she's just running around ski. Another topic for another day. But
That's a whole topic and a half.
you know what though? I'm gonna be honest with you. I got exposed to some more of her music.
Yeah.
I can dig her. She understands.
Really?
Yes, she understands who she is, and she accepts it. What we've heard on the mainstream radio, I do not like. Let's not get that confused at all. But I
Mm.
listened to another one of her songs. She knows who she is. She accepts herself. She knows how people view her, and she's going to go get her money. I can get behind
I'm
her with that.
and I'm all for that. I just can't get past all of that and all of this to even get to her music.
True.
Like I can't even take her serious as a hip hop artist. And
Yeah.
shout out to Fresh Out. Salute to y'all. Huge, huge, huge hip hop podcast. Hands down the best podcast out there. All things hip hop. They are on tonight, I believe, 8 o'clock
Okay.
Houston
Okay.
time. But check them out. Fresh Out. Love them, love them, love them. And they talk about Miss Carly Red on there too. So interesting. Um, if you guys are joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is not your first time, welcome on back. We
Mhm.
love to hear where you are watching from. You might be in listening in your car. You might be in, you know what I'm saying? You might have it all together and be in your media room watching us.
Hey,
Hey, you might be watching us on your phone.
whatever. We
Tell us where you
appreciate.
are watching from. We would love to know. How's it been going this week?
Man, fast. This week has been fast. I did a little bit of traveling. I
Mhm.
got stuck.
Ooh,
So I made it back. Yes, what's today? Wednesday? Yeah, I made it back yesterday.
welcome
Um,
back.
and I mean it's been just a flash trying to catch up. When you start behind, you're constantly
Yeah,
trying to catch up. So I'm
yeah,
glad it's hump day and we're on the downside of the week. Uh
very much so.
I'm looking forward to it next week
That's
and this weekend and next week. But you know what?
okay.
Today is the 20th, right? I don't
Yes.
really know when that stuff starts. I don't really care when that stuff starts. But guess what time of the year it is?
Homecoming?
Libra time.
Ugh. Somebody's birthday's coming up.
Hey, that's me. Perfect birthday. 10 10. Don't get
Oh,
no
we
better.
don't have to celebrate. We are definitely going to have to celebrate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
I'm
one more
excited.
thing. So I got season tickets to the Texans, right?
Yeah.
2 years in a row, I've missed the home opener because I was traveling, right? This is
Okay.
the first time that I'm kind of elated that I didn't make it because who did you root for?
Baby, every day, all day.
So, all
Maybe
right.
not been up to par, being motherhood and being a wife. Can't do everything. But yes, I am a Colts fan.
So
I
y'all
believe.
got one up on us. We'll catch y'all on the back half
I
of the season.
mean, when do we not have one up on y'all?
We'll
It's been
catch
a
you on the back
handful of
half.
times.
We'll catch you on the back half. Gotta see us twice.
Yes. Drop in the comments below a thumbs up if you are digging our new layout. We thought we needed to, you know what I'm saying, upgrade ourselves, look a little bit more professional. Let us know what you think of our new design.
So I do have to say one thing, and I'm probably gonna
Yes.
hear it from some of my friends.
So I do have to
They're
say
gonna
one.
want to see or hear me on that beat. I was over here on the intro, just
Come
okay.
on with
I had a few
it.
bars that came out. I was like, okay.
Let's record. Let's do it.
I'm ready. Bring it back. I'm ready. I'm ready.
So, it's a few things that, again, if you're new, welcome, welcome. At the top of the show, we usually do a toast, and then we go into some news, worldly news. We try to be a little worldly around here. And then we get into the topic. Outside of our beautiful new overlay, we also have two new segments that I'm super excited to announce. One of them being at the end of our discussion, we will have a portion dedicated where if you would like, you can video call
Ooh,
into the show. Let us know your thoughts, questions, comments that you have, and we are here for the discussion. At the end of the show, we will send a link into the chat where you can simply click. And if you are camera ready, we will bring you up to the stage.
don't
So
get
we
camera
got that
shy.
in our other segment that I am super excited about. I don't know if you could tell at the bottom below, but we now have a segment, free game. Yes, sirs. Free is going to give you some free game. Ladies, coming from a man, let's soak this in so we can get the man's side of things. I'm super
And
excited about
and for
what you're
the
going to have to say.
fellas, get some free tips and hints that can
Mm,
help you in the long run.
okay. We got some big things going on. I'm excited. I'm excited. Um ha, Big Trillo got the eyes wide open.
Hey,
Hey,
you know
we
what?
we ready.
Hey, you know what? I gotta give him a shout out. I don't remember. You gotta forgive me, dog. Your birthday is somewhere in these next yesterday, today, or tomorrow. Happy
Mm,
birthday, bro.
happy birthday. We love birthdays around here because that means that you are with us on this side of the earth. All right. So, the news. Mm, mm, mm. Um, let's watch this video real quick before I comment because this is interesting, and it has subtitles, so hopefully you guys are able to see this.
言ったことあります。新しいしね、出会いじゃなくて、お金払って行ってるなら別にいいかな。納得できる理由だったら、浮気とは思わないかも。
例えば、どういう、
付き合い
例えば上司とかの、
怒るけど、行ってもまだ許せる。風俗なら。なんか日本ならではのなんか文化じゃないけど、やっぱり有名じゃないですか。風俗とかっていうのが。そういう意味では、日本ならではで、そう。
Hmm. 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 What do you think about that?
Okay. First of all, I will be honest. I'm not as worldly as I think I am. I did not know that Japan was known for their prostitution.
Mm.
I did know that they are known for what is it? Where the men dress like women. I
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, I
do
got you.
know that. Um but I did
Cross
not
dressing.
know they were known for prostitution.
Hmm.
And the fact that they don't in their culture, it appears that they don't consider being with a prostitute as cheating
Mm.
surprised me.
Why did it surprise you?
I guess because I had this of course idea in my head that they were all about old school traditions, and
I'm
I
so
did
glad
not
that was the
view
answer.
prostitution as being an old school tradition.
Well,
Were
whoa,
you
whoa,
aware of
whoa.
this?
That's the oldest profession in the world.
That's what I've been told.
um, so I'm actually very glad that that was your answer, because what does that tell you? We talked about that last 2 weeks ago on this side of the earth.
Okay.
Now, on the other side of the earth, the tradition is dead. You just said they're known for their traditions. Husband,
Yeah.
wife, whether it's military, whether it's martial arts, they're known for following traditions. I don't think having something on the side is tradition. That might get your fingers and toes cut off. Right? So
I
the
mean, but some of them ladies wasn't that young though.
so I'm gonna tell you the second thing that that clip did for me today. That let me know that most times, and I am generalizing, y'all. So I'm, if you don't follow the umbrella, don't step out and get wet. That let me know that it is way more important to a woman emotionally than it is physically. It's and even the women even said it's okay for him to go and pay some, but I don't want him going out and meeting anybody, creating some type of
Yeah.
attachment. If I can't do something, go pay for it. Sure, come back. But I just
Yes,
don't
that
want my
confirms
man
we are emotional
emotionally
people.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, hmm, evolution at its finest.
Now let me make sure I can block my husband's passport to Japan. Just saying.
Passport, bro.
Uh, Big Trillo said today is his birthday.
I knew I,
Appreciate you, fam.
I knew I had it somewhere, right, man. Been knowing
And
each other a long time.
he says you learn something new every day. Japan out, yeah. They
Well, but
show
you know what?
off.
That is also a part of their culture. Forgive me if I get my eases wrong.
Okay.
Japanese, Vietnamese, Chinese, somewhere in there, Taiwanese, there is um the geishas. That's what they did back in the day. Seduce the men. That was like call girls versus prostitution. They were all done up. They
Mm.
had the makeup on, and I mean, but it was to lure the soldiers back then.
Enemy. Mm.
But it still was the same thing. So it's been over there.
Well, I didn't know. But me and my good Lord said
Well,
that's cheating, and we gonna have to sit down. Okay.
you know why that's cheating? Because you have a traditional relationship.
And we had a bomb podcast about that 2 weeks ago. Make sure
Right,
y'all check that out. Also in the news, what
man.
is going on with all these celebrity divorces?
I don't
Like,
know.
it's almost it, I really don't look up to the celebrity couples, but I know a lot of people who do. And it's just, what do they have to look up to now? Because it seems like everybody and their mama is getting a divorce.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
Tiana Taylor just announced on Instagram that her and her husband have been separated for a while. And she put this curated response and said, okay, now y'all know I'm old school, so I don't know what AHT means. Out out. Yeah, okay. Sure.
I got you.
Not too much on my bestie. In all fairness, Iman and I are separated and have been for a while. To be 1000% clear, infidelity ain't one of the reasons for our departure. A departure. Okay. We are still the best of friends, great business partners, and are one hell of a team when it comes to our co parenting and our two beautiful children. Most importantly, we are family. And in the 10 years together, 7 years married, ooh, the 7 year itch.
Mm, mm,
We ain't ever played with or about that. We just keep y'all behinds out the group chat, lol, which is the reason we been able to successfully and peacefully separate without all of the outside noise.
mm.
Totally agree. Totally agree. We had a conversation about putting all your business on social
Yeah,
media.
yeah.
The only reason I'm even sharing this part of the chat is because the narratives are getting a little out of hand and it's unfair to all parties involved. I hope this provided some clarity for y'all. Okay, Auntie taking y'all back out the chat. Bye. Big ups to her for you know,
Speaking on it, addressing
being
it.
speaking positive, not saying anything negative about Iman, and it sounds like everything is amicable.
Mhm,
But of course, she's made made it known in several interviews that they have entertained other women in their relationship. So a being an whole infidelity issue probably wouldn't even mean much, even if that
mhm.
was true. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
it's
hate
cool.
to see this because they've been together for so long, and it makes me question because it's like everything per her Instagram post sounded perfect. So why are y'all separated?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? So I'll tell you this. So it's funny you said that same way. So I was in college and I was married. I was actually getting divorced while I was in college,
Okay.
and we went to get the paper notarized. And the lady that was sitting over there, she looked at it, she said, "Are y'all sure y'all want to get a divorce? Y'all look like y'all are the best of friends." I was like, "Well, it took a while to get here to this point, but yeah, we're sure." So the separation between people doesn't always have to be ugly. Like I've had situations where just because you have an ex, you're supposed to beef. It's supposed to be ugly. That's not always
Yeah.
the case because you understand who they are now. I understand who I am now, and you just agree to disagree to go your separate ways. Nothing is wrong with it. But this is perfect for our topic today, expectations versus reality. There had to be some expectations there that were not met,
Mhm.
whether they were encountered later on in the relationship, because people change, people grow. I expect you to grow with me. Well, I'm not growing that way. So
Mhm.
maybe there was some issues. But I love the way that Jeezy and Jenny have separated. Like
Mm.
things become amicable, are amicable between them as well. But I like their honesty. Tiana told us everything is good between them. We just disagree. Jenny and Jeezy, well, Jeezy's came out and said we have disagreements on expectations, family values. So
Mhm.
we all, well, I won't say we all, but the trend has been money makes me happy. Money, neither one of them need any more money, but it was the thing that didn't cost anything that made the difference. So we've got to get
Mm.
away from what we see. Oh, it's Jeezy and Jenny. They had a great baby and da 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 da. Not happy. All right. And maybe
Okay.
they are actually happy, but they understand that our differences will continue to make us clash in a way that we can't enjoy each other. So, like, I hate to see it, but big ups to them for recognizing their situation and doing something about it. And you know what? We've got to stop looking at divorce as only negative. That freed both of them to go and do what they needed to do, get with whoever they wanted to get with, and hey, have some values with somebody and move forward.
I my concern is that we aren't learning. Like you
Mm,
said, like not divorce is not always a negative thing. If we don't make it a negative thing, what are we learning from it?
mm.
What are we learning from it so that whatever it is that created that divide, we don't take into our next relationship?
Okay. Well, here is something that we can use these two examples for. I didn't learn anything from Tiana and Iman's separation information, but I did learn from Jenny and Jeezy's because he said, "Hey, we're having like cultural differences. We're
Mm,
having family value and moral differences." So, what I take from that is, okay, those things really matter. So the money, all that, it matters. But the core of everything is how do we relate to one another? Can we
mm.
coexist with our different cultures? How do we mesh those cultures? Can we mesh those cultures? Right. So it's not as simply, oh, I like somebody of this culture. Let's get with them and carry our traditional values with us to their culture. It doesn't work. So at least I can learn from their separation. You know what? I need to think about our culture, even if it's just within the same culture. You're from the north, I'm from the south, east, west. It's a cultural difference. So you got to make sure some of those underlying things that we typically don't think about are considered because they make major differences later.
Baby, and the black women was having a field day with this divorce. 'Cause they was like, "You should have never left your black baby mama and ex-fiance." I said,
Mm.
"Dang,
I
just
hope
go
those
back
are,
and tell all the
but
business."
you know what? I sure hope those are the same black women that can take accountability for the lady with the fake brick.
Did he sip?
We ain't heard no more about that.
Did he sip?
She raised 40 bands on y'all. I'm upset because y'all was all over us. A black man stood out here, didn't do nothing, and she fooled y'all twice with the same trick.
I'm sorry, ladies. I have to side with him on that. We we made some big roars,
Yeah.
and then we found out that it wasn't what it was. We ain't heard nothing from y'all
Mm,
about her.
crickets. Not even lock her up. Because if I would have donated to her GoFundMe, I'm charging her with fraud. Give me my money back.
Hmm. Well, whew, let's get into some of these comments right now. Brandon said, "Free, doing big things, showing love, my brother. I agree. This is somewhat a part of Japanese culture and tradition."
Man, my guy B Kelly, man. Well, I can't even say B Kelly. I gotta say Brandon Kelly because he has a twin named Bernard. So I can't say B Kelly. Man, long
Oh.
time partner, man. Long time. Appreciate you.
They have to switch it up for status. Celebs
Mm.
rarely stay together long, which brings up the question of whether or not these relationships are actually
Ooh.
real or just for show. I wholeheartedly believe that a lot of these marriages are for status.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because now what's the big question about marriage. Is it a business?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely.
absolutely. So just think about the two biggest celebrities that you can think of. If they get together, everybody's going to be following. That equals money. They're going to get endorsements. And I don't know how many black people have now bought Tiffany because Jay-Z and Beyonce were the national spokespeople for it.
Spokesperson. Yeah.
So that was a big money move. So people who have that status, yeah, absolutely, they do it for clout, do it for the gram. So again, that tradition went out the window. Now we got to do it for money. Mm.
Alexis, I absolutely agree. Separation don't have to be always the I can't read today. Have to always be ugly between two people. Too
Absolutely.
bit, my boy Heavy dropping knowledge.
Hey, I tried my best, man.
So now let's get into our topic
Meat and
for this
potatoes.
evening.
Hmm.
Now, as I discussed earlier at the top of the show, for those who just came in, welcome. At the end of our discussion, we are going to allow you, yes, you, to jump in on a video call with us and jump on the stage. Let us know any comments, questions that you might have. I will drop the link in the chat. You simply click the link and make sure that you are camera ready. And we'll have you jump on up so we can see what you might have to say.
Hey, let's go.
So, start this off. Why is it important? Why are we having this discussion about expectations and the reality of those expectations?
Because we set ourselves up for failure with expectations.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean you should not have expectations in certain areas, right? So the first question I ask myself is, why do people have these unrealistic expectations? Well, look at our world. Unrealistic expectations in relationships comes from what we see, social pressure, what we see online. We all been seeing Tiana and Iman, couple goals, hashtag goals, hashtag Bay. They only show the good. They're not showing what's going on in the background. They're not showing what's happening in those situations where they entertained women in the room and what kind of conversations that led to afterwards. They're only showing you the good.
Yeah.
The best thing I heard in reference to something like this was Kevin Gates. He was like, man, you know what? I was about to kill myself trying to look shredded on Instagram and be all buff. And I realized these dudes ain't drinking no water. They dehydrated. He saw what looked good, tried to do it, but then he found out what was going on underneath and was like, oh, no, I don't need to be doing what I see. I need to do what
Yeah.
I know. So we got to stop looking at other people for our own goals and our own visions for what we want in our relationship.
I think it's very important that we have this discussion because I think a lot of the unrealistic, and we definitely need to discuss what some of those are, unrealistic expectations. We go into these relationships and we're setting the bar like here.
Way too high.
And so then the opposite sex has, or your spouse or your whoever you're in a relationship with, has a hard time from jump because there is no way that they can meet this bar that you have set because they are unrealistic. And as a lessons learned, particularly I learned this lesson too because I had these expectations that my husband was going to do the same things that my father did for me.
Mhm. Hmm.
And that's one of the huge unrealistic goals.
So,
But I think you have to set it's important for you to set the tone before you eat before jumping into the relationship,
mhm,
because you don't want to set the bar too high where this good guy or this good girl comes out failing
mm,
because you
mm.
didn't even give them the opportunity to shine, because they couldn't even meet past the test.
All right. So, but there's nothing wrong with having expectations, right?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
But one thing we're gonna get Clifton on the show one of these days. A family therapist. Shout out to Clifton. You know what he taught me though?
What's that?
Love is being able to love your significant other in the way that they need to be loved.
Mm,
Now, pair that with your expectations. You expect certain things. This is how you
mm,
like to be loved, right? So, if that person does those things, it's probably no issues. But if they don't do those things, there's going to be an issue. But now we got two ends of the spectrum and a lot of space in the middle to grow into doing those things. But people oftentimes just say, oh, it's not happening. It's not happening. Bye. Instead of saying it's not happening. It's not happening. Let's work on it. Let's bring it together, because you have to give somebody time to understand you. You have to give them time to understand you as well, but you have to allow grace.
mm.
You can't tell me one thing and expect it to immediately happen. You got to give me time. And it goes both ways. So, ladies, don't get caught up because it's coming from me. It does go both ways, right? Um, but the expectations will kill you in the end if they're not met, because they're unreal. And
Mm.
you got to sit with yourself and really analyze that and understand that they're unreal.
So knowing that you need to set some realistic expectations, say you do, what's the impact if they don't meet those expectations? What does
So,
that mean for you?
if they don't meet the expectations initially, there's a conversation, because this is what I
Communication.
communicate communication because this is what I expect. I don't have 10 years to wait for it.
Mm,
Either I can see, and it doesn't have to be a finished product. Sometimes people just need to see progress. Progress goes a long way. Again, my dad told me nothing beats a failure but a try. Most people would rather fail because they don't want to change, they don't want to learn something new. They'd rather fail and just get away from it instead of changing for the better.
putting in that work.
Putting in the
Mm,
work. We got to put in the work. It's not just about talking, it's about doing. And it gets ugly, it gets vulnerable, it gets
mhm.
emotional, but you got to put that work in.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you should try to find somebody that you can be vulnerable with, because if both of you guys can be vulnerable and just get that ugly face when you cry and talking to each other, you will be secure with each other and say, okay, I understand your expectations now. I thought you were just trying to change me. I understand your expectations. I understand where they come from. I understand how they impact you. Now I got to
Mhm.
ask myself, am I willing to be that for you? And if not, and you know that, you need to let that person go before you get to marriage, because by the time you marry somebody, you should know some foundational things. And that's up to you to make that decision to move forward, because divorce is a lot bigger than just a breakup.
And we're seeing that in those the couples that we just talked about.
Yeah,
Jeezy
absolutely.
straight up said expectations.
Yeah, that was those
So
were his
that's a
words.
huge impact.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Huge.
and you got to consider the worlds that they came from. Jeezy coming from the streets.
Yeah.
Jeezy want to flip every dollar that come in the house. She probably like, babe, let's just chill and hang out. And nah, I gotta flip this. Matter of fact, now that you don't want to help me flip this, I gotta flip you.
Oh. Yeah, yeah. I mean, th the expectations is think of it like a job.
Mm,
So when you start a new job, there are some roles, responsibilities, some expectations that they
mm,
have of you. And if there is an expectation that you come into the office every
yeah.
day, but when you looked at that job description, it said that you could come and go when you please.
Mm.
And now the expectation is that, hey, you need to come in every day.
So what do you do
Like,
when the expectations change?
so that's where I think communication is huge. You have to sit down and have these discussions because your expectations are going to change
Hmm.
because you change, you evolve as a person. So your expectations are also going to evolve.
Mm, mm,
I I, again, I think that is one of the main problems in some of these relationships. We don't know how to communicate anymore.
mm,
We don't want to put in the work and we don't know how to communicate with each other. I mean, we're so accustomed to text messages. Like
mm.
sometimes you just gonna have to sit down and be like, hey babe, I know this is what you are expecting of me, but yeah, I can't do that.
They do that
Can
one.
can we can we meet halfway? Is there some workaround? Like, be honest and upfront.
Yeah.
Like, my husband trusts that I am gonna be honest with him. He views me in a better light when I'm, like, straightforward with him. He may not like what I have to say in the beginning, but trust and believe it it will prevent many more arguments later on down the
Mm,
line
absolutely.
because I'm not mad at him or he's not mad at me because there's an expectation that we did not meet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have to talk about all expectations, but you know, one thing that's very important is to know the expectations of yourself.
Mm,
Because when you get into a relationship, you've been single. Oh, I expect this out of myself. I expect this. I expect me to do this. I expect me to go on these trips. I expect me to do whatever I want to do. But then when you get in a relationship and you have to compromise, you can't do all of those things. And then it feels like, oh, I'm changing, or they're trying to get me to change, or they're trying to tell me what to do because I can't do the things that I expected to do.
to do.
But you have to realize, did you expect these things in a relationship or did you expect them when you were single? And you can't merge those two worlds together.
Mm. And I was talking to some people and we had a really nice conversation about this. And some of the biggest unrealistic expectations that we talked about were one, we think that this person is supposed to complete us,
Mm,
but we're already complete before we get with this person.
absolutely.
Um, Another unrealistic expectation that we discussed was that, and similar in my situation, that we had this expectation that they would provide all of our needs.
Mm, mm.
And that one was huge, at least for me. Like that, I was like in the corner, like, because my father took care of all my needs.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it was time for me to get married, I assumed that my husband was going
Mm.
to play that same role. And then that got into the conversation of how we obtain these unrealistic expectations
Mm-hmm.
from our upbringing, from
There it
our
is.
parents.
There it is. Repetitious environment, as we talked 2 shows ago. Where do we get these things? Our environment, what we see all the time. Repetition. You saw your dad handle everything every day.
Yeah.
What's natural? Well, when I get a man, he's going to handle everything every day. Expectations, without realizing those times have changed. So
Very
let's
much
talk about
so.
the origin of the take care of me expectation, right?
Mm,
Last show, we took it back to Rosie the Rivet Woman in the 60s when the ladies were able to go into the workforce. Prior to that, it was just expected. Women at home, men at work, men come home, take care of the kids. As financially, women take care of the kids, but dinner's ready, all that stuff, right? That's where that expectation of take care of me came from.
yeah.
The expectation has changed for men, not
Mhm.
women, because they still expect, for the most part, to be taken care of in the traditional way. And that is leading to a lot of negativity as it relates to relationships, as it relates to getting married. Oh, you can't take care of me? Well, no, that you got to get rid of that expectation because it's not the same environment anymore. But that's what happens when we don't evolve. We hold on to the origin of things, but we move forward trying to pull this stuff with us, and it can't go. What do they say? You can't take everybody everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
When you go to another level, everybody can't go. Now we're at another level. Them old traditions can't go. So those expectations can't go.
And to the defense of women, the men have some expectations that are unrealistic. Again, a lot are, I don't want to say a lot, but there are some men who expect the woman to play the traditional role and go to work.
Yeah,
And
the,
that's
the
just
tradition can't come forward with the expectation. It can't. It's changed. So that's where it's equal on both sides. Men expect the old traditional stuff. Women expect the old traditional stuff, but it doesn't fit now.
mm. I mean, Big Trillo, I blame social media for these unrealistic expectations. Facts. It has warped reality into this filtered
Mm,
society.
mm, mm.
Oh man.
Filtered. Can't even put a picture up without a filter.
It's funny because I just had a discussion with my oldest and she was telling me something and I was like, "Well, Nyla, that's not true." "Uh-huh, yes it is because I saw it on TikTok."
Hey, well,
Baby, you
I
cannot
could
believe
take that better if you
everything.
told me you saw that in a book, but TikTok ain't gonna get it.
I mean that statement is so true. That we are
Mm,
sitting here looking at social media and we are making what we see on social media the
reality.
ultimate goal, the what we should expect in relationships. And it's not realistic
Yeah,
because guess what? Those people are, like you said, gonna put their best. They gonna give you the best show on
yeah,
Instagram. You
absolutely.
think they not gonna get show make that the greatest show ever?
Hmm, absolutely.
Everything can't be perfect 365. Hey,
And we've been
my
knowing this
favorite
about
song,
them.
"Can You Stand the Rain?" Because it's gonna be some rainy days, some cloudy days.
Yeah, yeah. And as we talked about before, another expectation that's false is that there's a lot of people out there that I want to pick from, and there's a lot of people out there that want me. Neither one of them true.
Dang.
Neither
He
one
just
of them.
said y'all not want it.
It's 8 billion people out there. All 8 billion of them don't want you. And all 8 billion of them aren't an option for you. So expectation. I expect to get with a man. He making 1.5. He got this house. But you offer MLK.
So, how do you recommend? What do you recommend to those ladies that are expecting a six-figure spouse?
Assess yourself.
Mm.
Because, and I'm saying, don't come at me from a traditional perspective. Come at me from a realistic, modern time, current living perspective.
Okay.
Assess yourself. Don't ask for more than you can bring to the table. I said that table piece purposely, right? I talked to
Yeah.
a young man the other day. He's 25 years old. I told him about the podcast and I told him the topic. I said, hey, what do you expect in your relationships? He said, man, you know what? The only thing I expect, I just need you to be my biggest cheerleader. I don't need you to bring nothing to the table because if you can cheer me on when I'm down and bring
Mm-hmm.
me back up, I'm going to go get it. I just need you to be my cheerleader.
Wow.
Now, there's probably some women out there that don't want to be a cheerleader, but that's all he asked for.
Right.
There's some women out. He said, "You don't have to work. You don't have to do nothing." When I come in that door though every day, I need, yeah, baby, you home. They not gonna want to do that, right? And I'm not saying that it's got to be all enthusiastic like that, but whatever his
Right.
cheering on is, that's all he wants. And to be honest, a man don't want you bringing the table to the table. You can bring whatever you have, and we can co-create a table, but what do you bring to the table versus what do I bring to the table brings instant competition. And I don't want to be in competition with the person I love. Oh, I bring more to the table, so you should listen to me. Oh, no, I bring more to the table, so your thought is not important. No. What are
Mm.
we building? Wherever we're starting at. So you got to understand that it's not about money. It's not about what you bring to the table. It's about your core beliefs, your core values, your family. Like what people don't know their core is another issue. You don't know your core and somebody's telling you what it is, you naturally start to feel a certain way because
Certain
you
way.
don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Brandon said, "How about we build the table?"
How about it? That's where those bonds and things are made in the relationships. You done went through the mud with somebody, you still got some mud on you. You come out on the other side and that mud dry, and we stuck together because we done went through it together.
Yeah.
There's a bond there that no amount of money can come between. There's a bond there that no person can come between because I know that in my case, I know that this woman is going to be there no matter what. How do I know that? Because
Mhm.
we done went through no matter what, and she's still here. That's
Yeah.
more important to me than any amount of money that a woman could bring to the table, any table she could bring to the table. I just need you to be there for me the way I need you to be there for me, and I be there for you the way that you need. That is where the solid core is going to be, and
Gonna be.
that'll throw expectations out of the window because the reality is we went through this. We know that everything outside of this doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Because we
matter.
can always, as long as we got this, we can rebuild everything around it. So the money, people go broke all the time, get jobs, right? People lose houses, get another house. People lose spouses and get another spouse, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
So now we're gonna take the time. I'm gonna throw in the chat the link If you want to come up on stage with us, go ahead, click that link. We'd love to interact with you. But let me put this link in here now. Um,
While you put that link in there, I gotta post my boy's comment, man. Some women want a rich, 6 foot monogamous thug that love Jesus and work out every day.
I mean, why not have the best of both worlds?
Expectation versus reality. You want him to be on the block, make that knot and put it in the collection plate.
I mean, Lenny said that is true. People don't know their
Ooh.
core because they are afraid of healing.
Ooh, I'm finna exit the chat.
Mm,
Whoo. Wow. People don't know their core
that's
because they
kind of
are
heavy.
afraid. Man,
Mm.
I need a button. I need some DJ Clue horns for that one because man, and an unhealed person
Ooh,
continue to hurt.
man.
Hurt people, hurt people.
Hurt people, hurt people. Exactly.
Now I
Mm-mm.
got to get away from because the reality is you're hurt
You're hurt.
and you're hurting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want to heal. You got to face. That's why I said in the beginning. You got to have them ugly, crying, vulnerable, just nobody has ever seen me like this conversations in order to truly build that bond. It got to get ugly. It got to get nasty. It doesn't have to be dangerous, but it's got to be ugly because that's the truth coming out. Everybody
Mm.
makes that ugly cry face because you can't help it. It's just coming out of.
What do you say to those women who feel like, well, now you're asking me to settle because
Mm,
these are my expectations and they're not going to change. Now you want me to settle. That's what you want me to do.
I want you to go on about your business because I'm not to be settled for. I'm not and if men took more of a stance on that, and women too, don't settle. If I don't check all your boxes, leave me alone. And I probably won't check all of your boxes. If I check a majority of your boxes, are you willing to
Mm,
work it? Put in the work to get to the point where all of the boxes are checked.
checked.
No, I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you if I don't check your boxes. Bye. Let me get another application.
Brittany said, I say good luck with the rest of your life.
Yeah. You know what? I just found
Dang.
I found a quote that said, you kill people with kindness. Stop that. They don't even deserve your attention to get the kindness.
Mm.
Kill people with silence. Leave them alone. Leave me alone. I'm fine. Please leave me alone. Because I will definitely leave you alone. There's how many millions of people in Houston? I don't got to see you
Yeah.
no more.
And I think that's where you have to sit down and identify what truly is realistic
Mhm.
versus unrealistic. You know, there's only X amount of, let's just say, for example, for purposes, X amount of black men in Houston that make six figures. A lot of them are, let's just say, over the age of 50. So that leaves you with a small portion. And statistically, it doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
You can hope and pray all you want, but the good Lord also gave you some discernment,
Uh oh.
some wisdom,
Uh oh.
some knowledge.
Hmm. Well, well,
And
well.
I also think, at least with me and when I was prior to getting married,
Mhm.
this was not the type of discussion that I had with my girlfriend.
Mm.
I
Mm.
think we need to, and a lot of times I know a lot of men are like, "Oh, y'all women need to hold y'all accountable, blah blah blah." yes, I get that. I wholeheartedly understand and I get that. But if you aren't having these conversations with your girlfriend,
Mhm.
how can you hold her accountable?
Mm.
How do you even know that this is how she's thinking? All you do is you see her go in and out with these men, and you're like, okay, maybe you need to slow down. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. But if you're not having these conversations, how can you hold her accountable? So I think it's
Mm.
important that we as women, we need to sit down, go to brunch, and let's have a discussion so that we
Mm.
can be better as a race, as a female gender. We hold each other accountable. Let's start. Let's start with our girlfriends. Let's start with
Absolutely.
our family members.
Absolutely. I got a shout out to my boy. He made it. Demond, I don't know if
Hey,
he at the
Jamie
house or if he in the
made it.
theater room or if he in the Tessie. But he said, and the few men that check all of the boxes probably don't want you. That to my point, right? 8 billion people, all of them don't want you. So you can't say that, oh, I want this. That probably don't want you. But I'm
Mm.
not the person to tell you that what you want is not out there because I believe it is, even if you have to grow into that person. And double shout out to my boy Demond, because guess what he said he doing?
What? Oh, he's
Running.
running. Hey, good for
Shout
you.
out to my boy for running and checking in with us.
Hey,
All right. Oh,
yeah.
Brandon
You
makes
know,
a
we need
he
to do
makes a
better about health.
he makes a great point too. He says, and the person that had to work up to six figures, most likely they had a woman that stayed down through the buildup.
I hope
So
so.
she was there when he was making 40. When he got to the 100K, of course she deserves to be there. Of course she deserves to sit down. Of course she deserves the
Yeah.
purses, the accolades, the trips. Of course she deserves that. Why? She was down there in that mud with me. We came out on the other side. We got in this hot Houston sun. The mud dried and it bonded us together. I'm gonna ride with it.
Ride or die.
Oh, look at the verbiage. My wife invested in me. Woo.
Okay, Damon, what was the ROI on that one?
I can tell you, probably 1,000%.
Lenny said, the
Ooh,
question is, why do
ooh.
we have boxes? Ooh.
Mm.
How about we identify expectations and standards? I believe
Ooh.
people have them confused.
I like that. Man, another horn. Man.
Hmm.
Ooh,
Interesting.
expectations and standards.
There is a difference. There's a
Yeah, yeah,
huge difference.
yeah, there is. There definitely is. Um, wow.
Look, Lenny done got us all
Hit me with a little
quiet.
brain bubble. I like it. I love it.
So, from when you were in college to now,
Mm,
have your expectations evolved? Are they still the same?
absolutely, they've evolved, and the evolution of expectations is painful
Mm,
because you have to.
wow.
You've got. I got a little something in it, but you have to go through things to realize your expectations are not real. If you go into a situation and you expect this woman to love you with all her heart and not cheat on
Yeah,
you and not do this and be great to you because you're a good man, you do everything that a good man does and they still do whatever they do, that takes a little piece away from you.
right.
Expectation is okay. Now that's not real. Nobody just loves anybody just because we love everybody. There has to be something invested there. There has to be some kind of bonding moment. So the evolution of expectations is painful. You got to go through something to know that your expectations aren't real.
Aren't real. Hmm. Message. That that was big. I
I
like that.
mean, Lenny brought it out of me. I had to come back with something.
Okay, so we have come to that point in our show where we got some free game for y'all.
Free game.
Free game.
So
Give it to us, Prince.
as it relates to expectations, your expectations are killing your relationships with yourself, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your significant other, your relationship with your job, whatever you have a relationship with, your expectations are killing it because they don't match up with the reality. So temper your expectations. I'm going to give you something that, of course, Pastor Keon said this the other day. I call it EQ.
Okay.
Expect it, embrace it, and exceed it. Expect that your expectations will not be met.
Hmm.
Embrace that they did not get met. Now, the tricky part is to exceed. Tiana and Iman had some expectations that didn't get met. Probably expected that, right?
Hmm.
Then it actually happened. He had to embrace it. They did not exceed because they did what everybody else does. When they get ugly, let's just go our separate ways. Exceeding is understanding, embracing it, and going beyond to get back to what we want to be.
Hmm.
Because I started out with this person with this idea that we could work to that. Because it got ugly, I had to expect that. When it got ugly, I should have been aware enough to understand what was going on. And I should have exceeded what everybody else does and what everybody else expects when that situation comes up. Free game. Get rid of your
Free game.
expectations.
Y'all heard it. Free game of the week.
And I'm gone.
Mic drop. Well, we appreciate you all. Thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and hang out with us. We are super excited and we hope that we will see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't seen some of our other episodes, go right ahead, check it out. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, please hit that heart.
Right.
I'm sure there was something during this convo that made your heart sing, that you was like, oh dang,
I can't wait to
hit
see your
that
story.
like, hit that hot. We gotta get them up. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We love you. We all hope you have a great rest of the week. And until next time.
Keep it up, Coach Prime.